Hey everybody, it's Brooke. Welcome back to another Come and Play With Me tutorial video, such as it is. I am really new at doing this kind of playing with me video, so be kind, please. And ignore my fingernails. I still can't go have a manicure. I'm still recovering from that stupid surgery, and I can't have anyone messing with my arm, but they're wretched. So let's not look at that. I will distract you and amuse you in other ways, I'm sure. As I've been recuperating, I've been kind of playing with some of my toys that I haven't used recently. One of them being my Big Shot, or Big Kick, I guess it is. I use my Cricut, and I sometimes forget that I still have the manual help me die cutting machine. So I was messing around with some of the dies that I have, and I came up with, I think, a fun way to use, well, it's actually a die that I have, or a die set that I have. It's this Sizzix set from Stephanie Barnard, I guess is her name. And this is a Framelits Flippits set. No idea why I ever bought this. Must have been on clearance, but I have never used it. And I thought, well, that's silly. So I got the nice old man to bring my Big Shot upstairs for me to mess around with. And I used it. It's got all these dies inside of it. And yeah, no, you don't need to have this for what I'm going to show you. I figured out a way to do it with just regular dies, or even by hand if you don't have a die cut machine. But this is where I started. Let me put this back in because all the little pieces keep disappearing. So I will just put that to the side. And this is the pocket I made. So if you pretend like, say this is a journal page, right? If that's your journal page, then you would glue this down. In this particular one, you'd glue on three sides. So you'd have a little tuck pocket here. And then when you get to the page, you look at it and you open it and it flips over. Is that so cute? I hope you can see that. Let me lift it up closer. So there it is attached to the page. And you grab that edge and you flip it over. So cute, right? However, I'm not crazy about this shape. It's a little busy for me, and they're kind of small, I thought. I liked how it came out. I actually used a texture folder to get the diamond shapes in the back and use my distress ink over it. And then I just used one of the smaller dies to cut these pieces, put in some pearls, put some lace on the edge, and on the inside, these are the negatives of the pieces on the other side, and I glued those in and just got some text from a book that I've been messing around with. And that's it, and I think it's just so cute. But as I said, these little pieces are kind of small, and not everybody has the, whatever that die cut set is called, or die set is called. So that's that one. And then I started thinking, well, I have a million die sets. If you have like a Big Kick or whatever, I'm sure you do. So I was looking at all the nesting dies I have. I have them from Sizzix, I have them from Spellbinders, I have them from Simon Says Stamps. Just any kind of, actually any die that you have would work fine, but I'm using this oval nesting one from Spellbinders. And this is the texture folder, the embossing folder that I used. And we'll look at that again in a little minute. So at any rate, here are some of the other ones I made. Get this little planer, here we go. I think that's easier to see. So here's another one, and it looks like that. And you'd have this tucked into the little pocket behind. So it would look like that on your page. And when you opened it up, bloop, that would flip over, and you could put another photo or whatever you like in there. And then here's just some stamped scrap paper for journaling. And then there's a tag up there and a fabric ruffle. Is that so cute or what? A little different, I think. And again, I used the embossing folder on this and did a little inking. And that is it. It's really, really simple. So there's that one. And then because lately I've been on this kick of don't do one, do 1,000. Here's one that I made from Backyard Garden, which is a paper pad from Michael's, and this one's a little fatter, but you've got your pocket up there with a little tag stuck inside, and you would just glue this on 3 sides to make it the pocket. Here's a piece of the paper from inside, a little fabric tab, and you pull it, and then there's your little oval inside. You could put a picture or do some journaling or a quote, whatever. I'm sorry it's so glary. This is really foiled. And then I made a pocket here with one of the cutouts from the pad, and there's a journaling card, and there's a tag, and then again you just have your little pocket back there with another journaling card on it. So once again, in the spirit of let's add some extra real estate and fatness to our journals, here's another one. Although I don't think the fatness is too bad on this one. So there was that one with a little less vintage feel. And I've just been keeping the tags that go with them right there until they find their home. And then the last one I'm going to show and sort of make one during the video, hopefully, is this one, where I had some pictures of my girls that I didn't know what to do with. They didn't really have anything to do with anything else. So if you picture, ignore the thumb tab, that was in the wrong spot. But if you picture this being your journal page, and you can just put this pocket in, glue it on 3 sides. There's a tab here. I just used regular craft paper, did some embossing up here with my embossing folder, little lace. So you grab your tab. There's my gorgeous girl, Olivia. You open it up, and it flips open, and there's my gorgeous girl, Victoria, on the inside. Big fat space for journaling, which is nice, and this was just a scrap I grabbed out of my scrap bin and stamped at the top and bottom. And then I made a little tag, again, out of a scrap from my scrap bucket, scrap of lace, and a little charm, and a little tiny tassel on a bolt pin. So a lot of this, honestly, is just made out of stuff in my trash bucket, pretty much. But I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. So let me see, without too much goofiness, if I can show you how I did it. The technique is called partial die cutting, and I'm sure that there are 1,000 videos on YouTube for it. But I'm just going to start out by... Oh, not supposed to reach with that arm. Shh, don't tell on me. It's a secret. So you just start out by cutting a piece of cardstock, however high you want your tuck to be. So let's go with 5 inches. And the only caveat about this is to make sure that it's not wider than your die cutting bed. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to cut that and get rid of my cutter. And here's our piece of paper. So it's 5 inches high, and that's what I want the whole pocket to be. And what you're going to do is just fold it in half. And of course, you could use your scoreboard if you want to, but I am way too lazy. So I'm just going to use my bone folder and fold that in half. And then, so you've got it like this, crease right down the middle. And then you're going to take the right-hand edge, or it could also, let's see, let me show you. No, after you do this one. Sorry, thinking out loud. You're just going to take this right-hand side, eyeball it to see how much you want of this part to be folded over, and it really doesn't matter. Just make sure to leave enough here for your die to fit, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So I'm just going to take that and, again, eyeball it and fold it. All right, so I've folded this piece back this direction. I'm going to give it a squish with my bone folder. Let me hold it up so you can see. So it just does that. Okay, now what we're going to do is fold it back down flat, and on this one I want this to open. Let's see, I have to think. Okay, I want it to open this way. So, shh, don't tell. Well, you know what? Let's put the die in place first. Open it up flat, and you know what I think I'll do is make a pencil mark so you guys can see better than just that crease. This is the center crease that we made originally, just folding the card in half. Okay, and this crease is the one that we made just now with the second fold. So hopefully you can see those. I would not do this on the piece that was going in my book. I'm going to take my die and see if I can get this the right direction. It's always quite a miracle if I get it the right way. So what we're going to do is take this die. This is the largest oval in the set. I've put some washi tape on it to hold it in place. And what I do is rip my washi tape off and stick it to my clothes a few times to de-stick it, just so it doesn't hurt the paper. And I'm going to center this over that second fold we made. Hopefully you can see that. And again, you can measure it if you're a stickler for even. I am not a stickler for even, so I'm just guesstimating close enough. So rub that down to hold it in place. I'm going to grab the Sizzix. There we go. And here it is. I even bought new cutting plates for you guys. My old ones were so filthy you couldn't even see through. So I haven't used these yet, so let's see. There we go. So these are smaller ones. They're not extended. So you go ahead and put your cutting plate in there, and I've got it on tab 2, which is what it says to use for thinlits and the wafer thin dies and things. I'm going to put my paper in there with my die taped down. And what you want to do this partial cut, the machine is only going to cut where the plates are. That's where the pressure is. So I am going to, hopefully you can see that without a glare. Those darn cutting plates are awfully clean and shiny. I am lining up this edge of the plate with that pencil mark we made and scooting it over maybe a 1/16 of an inch, just because there's that bevel in the plate. Okay, so hopefully, I think you can see the pencil mark is right here and right here. I've got it lined up with the edge of the plates. I'm going to push this in as far as I can, holding it down with this hand is holding everything down so it doesn't shift. I'm going to push it in so it's all nice and tight in there. God, I hope this makes sense. And then I'm just going to go ahead and push it through. And I'm going to pull it through. Let's see how those new plates did. Oh, they already got a scratch on them, so they must be good. And see what happens on the other side? You only cut half of it. So we'll go ahead and cut or pull this die off. And let me get it out of the way. I'll put it up here and scoot this machine out of the way. A little tiny area here. So let me go ahead and scoot this guy. Oh no, I moved my whole desk. No, not really, it's just the paper. If you guys video or you want a nice backdrop for your desk, this is photo backdrop that I got at Hobby Lobby. I love it. I think it's beautiful. So anyway, here is our card that we made. So if you go like that, use your phone folder again, get those creases good and tight. There's your oval, which you can hardly see, but when you open it up, there it goes flat again. So this is one that'll open on the right-hand side of my page, which is just, I don't know, I just felt like doing it. So then, really, at this point, you can do whatever you want with it. As I said, let me grab one of these other ones. On this one, I did the embossing folder here. So let me show you actually a good tip for an embossing folder. Let me pull this back over. And you can use any embossing folder that you want. And I just go ahead and shove the whole thing through. The whole folded pocket assembly. I use the whole thing in my embossing folder. So with our die cutting machine, get the plate out of there. And I think, yep, there we go. We have to open it up to the back surface. Put our plate in. Trying to only use my bottom plate for the bottom. Oh, a mess, I'm falling apart. You can see, I think right there, you can see where I cut the oval. It's already made a mark in that nice smooth cutting mat. If you always use this one on the bottom, then you'll only have one that's messed up, and you can see through the top one, if that makes any sense. So at any rate, we'll put that in there, and we'll grab our little card, and where did I put that embossing folder? There it is. We'll use the tree. So obviously you can't put, if you want the tree going the right direction around this corner, you can't, you can't, the whole, what am I trying to say here? You're going to have to emboss this oval as well. So what I do is I take my embossing folder, and I'm going to go ahead and stick that in there. And I'm going to wrap this card around the back. Okay, and so I've got that in there, and that's going to emboss, I like that, right in the corner with a little bit of the tree. Okay, so if you open it up, what I do is, hopefully I have, oh no, I don't. I thought I had water down here, but I do have a coffee spray that'll do. I wouldn't normally use coffee spray, which I keep in my drawer for emergency staining. Usually I would just use plain water. But if you wet the paper, then put your embossing folder down and run it through just like always. Oop, it's already in there. Go ahead and put that plate in and run it through. I'm going to run it through twice just to make sure we get a good impression. That liquid is going to soften up the paper some so that you get a really good deep impression. Even on some cheaper embossing folders where you may not get such a great impression. Hopefully you can see that. Where it made a nice deep impression on both sides. Okay, so you do get the impression here, but that's okay because we're going to cover that part up anyway. And I don't even know. You know what? I'm so used to being upstairs now. I don't know where my downstairs stuff is. But normally I would take this and use my heat gun and dry it off, but I won't for the sake of the video. But anyway, so there you have this beautiful embossed area. You have your oval cut out, and it opens just like that. So you can use any size die, any shape die, do whatever kind of embellishing you want on it. I'm going to get the machine out of the way here. Scoot that over. Oh, and I moved my paper again. Maybe I should have taped that down, huh? Live and learn. So you have this. So then you can take a little bit of ink if you'd like to. I've got Tim Holtz vintage photo. Yeah, vintage photo. And you can just go kind of pick some of that up. It really makes it stand out even more. You can go along the edges and distress that up a little bit. And probably won't be able to see this part inside the oval, but as long as I'm here, I might as well hit it. You can hit this fold. You can do the inside too, as well. But there you go. There's your whole little flip out page. So when you open it up, boop. Once you dry it, it's all set to go. You can put a photo in here, do whatever you want. Let me pull out that one again one more time for demonstration purposes. Here we go. So this one opens the other direction, like that. But it is really the same exact thing, just going the opposite way. Opens up this way. And what I did was I put Olivia's photo right here. I did a little trimming around the embossing to put those leaves up over her photo. Stitched some lace on right here. Stapled on my tab. And you open it up. I put Victoria's photo right in here. And put a piece of scrap paper right there for a journaling spot. And when you glue it down on your paper, again, you can glue it on these three sides, and it will be a top-loading pocket, or you can glue it down on these three sides, and you'll have a side-loading pocket. So on this one, I wanted the tag. I don't even know what I did with the tag now. Oh, here it is on the floor. Because when I'm not using it, yep, I huck it on the floor. I wanted this pocket to stick out like that, so you could see the lace and the little tassel. So I would just glue this particular one down on my page around these three sides, and then you have a little tag where you have even more journaling or photo space. And that really is that. It's as easy as that. If you don't have a die cutting machine, you can just fold it exactly the same way and put anything that you have on that fold. A lid, just eyeball it. Use a square, use any dies you have, or any lids, or anything that you can trace around just on the one side of this fold, and you can cut it out with a craft knife. I did that on one of them, and my cutting is not good, so I went back to my dies, but I tried it with a square. Anything that will fit in here, any die that will fit in there will make a perfect partial die cut so that you get that fun flip out photo look. So again, that's this one. And I just think that's so much fun. So hopefully, as I said, I'm very new to doing these sort of quasi-tutorials. I hope that didn't make your head explode. Oh, and I unpinned my bulb pin. I hope it was helpful. I hope you got a little inspiration. Any questions, make sure to ask them. I love to answer questions or respond to your comments. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. You can also check to see all the places where you can stalk us on the interwebs. And thanks so much for joining us. I had a great time, and I hope you did too. Bye.